in this lesson we are going to look at some part 1 questions for the IELTS speaking test, and we are also going to watch an example of a student answering these questions. But before we watch the example, let's look at the questions and analyze them and think about what information you need to give when you answer. So here are the questions. So the first one is, how long have you been studying English? Okay, of course you should include the length of time, but you should include more information. Try to think of extra things you can say in this answer. Whether you enjoy learning English, how old you were when you began, why you started to learn English. Remember, your answers should be 2 or 3 complex sentences. The second question that we will see in this example is, why are you preparing for IELTS? So give the expected reason for your job or for overseas studies, and then add some more. Why IELTS is important for you, or how you feel about IELTS. Is it easy or difficult? And the third question we will see in the example today is, what's the most difficult thing about studying a language? So again, give your answer, your reason what is most difficult. Maybe it's pronunciation or vocabulary or grammar, but then also say why you think that is difficult. Because there are so many words to learn, because pronunciation is very different from your own language, but give extra details. Don't just answer the question. Okay, now we will watch an example of a student answering these questions. Then after that, I will give some feedback for that student. So if you have the same problems, then you should also follow the feedback. Here's the example. Okay, let's begin by talking about your studies. How long have you been studying English?
Actually, I have been studying English for about 16 years. I find English really interesting, and I also chose it as my major.
And why are you preparing for IELTS?
I really want to get an IELTS certificate so that I can get a good job and can improve my English skills, which is really important nowadays.
What's the most difficult thing about studying a language?
I think the most difficult and also the most important thing to study when you studying a foreign language is that you have to enrich your vocabulary, and I think it's the most difficult part.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, so that was an example for the topic of your studies and learning, and just 3 questions in that example. My advice for this student would be to think before speaking. This will help improve fluency by not stopping in the middle of a sentence. Stop at the end of your sentences. A short pause at the end of each sentence is acceptable. In the middle, it becomes difficult to follow, you lose fluency. So think before you give your answer, just a little bit. My second tip for this student would be to relax. She was a little bit nervous, so smile, relax, and make some eye contact. Especially for part 1, you're supposed to be friendly with the examiner. They're trying to ask you questions that are familiar to you. You should be relaxed, and that will help you speak a bit better. And my third tip for this example is to practice answering a wide variety of questions, so that when you are asked questions, you're not surprised or you've never heard that question before. Not just on a wide variety of topics, but question structures. Questions like, what's your favorite something? What is the most difficult thing about some activity? Those question structures are quite common. The topics may change, but those questions and how you answer those questions will be the same. So those are my 3 pieces of advice for this student and for you if you have the same difficulties. I will see you for the next lesson on the Online English Club. Goodbye.